Welcome aboard the Grand Canyon Railway, one of the most scenic and historic train journeys in the United States. This iconic route, stretching from the small town of Williams, Arizona, to the rim of the Grand Canyon, has been transporting passengers for over a century. But behind its picturesque landscapes and vintage charm lies a treasure trove of little-known facts that make this railway truly special. Let's dive in. The Grand Canyon Railway's story began in 1901 when the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway completed the 65-mile line from Williams to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. But did you know the original reason for its construction wasn't tourism? Instead, it was built primarily for mining. Copper and other precious minerals were thought to be abundant in the area, but once it was clear there wasn't much to extract, the railway turned its focus to tourism, paving the way for the Grand Canyon's fame worldwide. Steam locomotives are a rare sight in the modern age, but the Grand Canyon Railway still operates vintage steam engines. One of these, locomotive number 4960, dates back to 1923. Here's an interesting twist. Although these engines are nearly 100 years old, the Grand Canyon Railway is dedicated to sustainability. Locomotive number 4960 was converted to run on waste vegetable oil in 2009, making it one of the most eco-friendly steam trains in the world. One of the lesser-known facts about the Grand Canyon Railway is that its passenger cars are all carefully restored to reflect the golden age of train travel. The railway offers several classes, from budget-friendly coach to first class, and even luxury dome cars. Some of these carriages are over 70 years old, preserving the elegance and craftsmanship of a bygone era. It's like stepping into the past, but with modern comforts. While we're on the topic of elegance, here's something you might not know. Fred Harvey and his famous Harvey houses played a major role in shaping the tourism industry along the Grand Canyon Railway. Known as the civilizer of the West, Harvey's chain of restaurants provided travelers with high-quality meals during their journeys. The Grand Canyon Depot even had its own Harvey House, which became a hub for travelers seeking comfort and style after arriving at the canyon. His influence is still felt today, as his hotels and dining experiences helped set the standard for service on the railway. Speaking of history, did you know the Grand Canyon Depot is one of only 3 remaining log depots in the United States? Not only that, it's also a National Historic Landmark. Constructed in 1910, it was designed to harmonize with the natural surroundings of the Grand Canyon, using local materials and an architectural style that mirrored the rugged beauty of the area. As the train winds its way through the Kaibab National Forest, you might catch glimpses of some unexpected passengers, elk, deer, and even coyotes. The Grand Canyon Railway traverses a rich landscape full of wildlife, and these sightings are one of the many reasons this journey is so special. Early morning or late afternoon rides offer the best chances of spotting these animals as they graze or cross the tracks. Here's a surprising piece of history. The Grand Canyon Railway was actually shut down in 1968 due to declining passenger numbers. For over 2 decades, the tracks lay unused, slowly falling into disrepair. But in 1989, the railway was revived by private investors who saw its potential as a heritage line. Their investment not only brought back the trains but also helped revive the economy of Williams, Arizona, making the railway a success story of preservation and tourism. And if you think a ride on the Grand Canyon Railway is just about the scenery, think again. Throughout the year, the railway hosts special themed events, including the famous Polar Express, during the holiday season. Based on the popular book and movie, this magical experience includes hot chocolate, caroling, and a visit from Santa himself. Perfect for families looking to add a little enchantment to their Grand Canyon trip. The Grand Canyon Railway isn't just a mode of transportation, it's a journey through time. From its origins in mining to its rise as a tourism icon, this railway has left an indelible mark on the history of the American West. Whether you're a history buff, a nature lover, or just looking for a memorable way to experience one of the world's greatest natural wonders, the Grand Canyon Railway offers an unforgettable ride. Hollywood's love for the Grand Canyon Railway. The Grand Canyon Railway has been featured in several movies, but many don't realize just how much Hollywood has been enchanted by it. The picturesque route and historic locomotives have made it a sought-after location for film shoots since the 1930s. Classic westerns, including John Ford's Stagecoach, took inspiration from the landscapes the train crosses, though the exact filming location was farther afield. Even today, the railway remains an iconic symbol of the American West, often used for period films and TV shows. The train once had a pet bear. In the early 1900s, the Grand Canyon Railway had an unusual resident, a pet bear that belonged to a station master in Williams. This bear would greet passengers arriving at the station, and although it was domesticated, the sight of it certainly added an element of surprise for travelers. While there are no more pet bears today, this quirky historical tidbit adds a colorful chapter to the railway's history. The train and Teddy Roosevelt's legacy. Teddy Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States, was a strong advocate for the preservation of the Grand Canyon as a national treasure. What's lesser known is that his conservation efforts were tied closely to the accessibility of the canyon by train. Roosevelt visited the Grand Canyon by railway, and his experiences there deeply influenced his decision to push for its designation as a national monument in 1908, and later a national park. The Grand Canyon Railway played a vital role in making the canyon more accessible, aligning with Roosevelt's vision of making America's natural wonders available to everyone. The Polar Express train attracts over 100,000 visitors annually. The Grand Canyon Railway's seasonal, Polar Express, ride is so popular that it brings in over 100,000 visitors each winter. What many don't know is that this magical train ride, inspired by the book and movie, is one of the largest Polar Express experiences in the U.S. The themed ride operates from November through January, transforming the train into a winter wonderland, complete with snow, Santa Claus, and hot chocolate. For many families, it's become an annual tradition, bringing life to the small town of Williams during the colder months. It was once the preferred route for wealthy travelers long before roads were improved and air travel became common. The Grand Canyon Railway was the most luxurious way to visit the Grand Canyon. Wealthy tourists would often book entire train cars or suites for their journey, especially during the early 20th century. The Fred Harvey Company, known for its high-end hospitality, catered to these visitors with gourmet meals, plush accommodations, and elegant service. Today, the railway's luxury parlor class and observation dome car harken back to those days of opulence. The railway helped develop Williams, Arizona's tourism industry. Before the Grand Canyon Railway, Williams, Arizona, was a modest town with a mostly ranching and lumber-based economy. But with the introduction of the railway, the town became a hub for travelers heading to the Grand Canyon. As a result, hotels, restaurants, and attractions sprouted up, transforming Williams into the tourist destination it is today. The famous Route 66, which also passes through Williams, owes some of its legacy to the boom sparked by the railway in the early 20th century. The railway was integral to national park tourism in the early 1900s. In the early 20th century, America's national parks were just starting to gain attention, but many were inaccessible due to their remote locations. The Grand Canyon Railway was among the first train routes to directly connect a major national park to the rest of the country. It paved the way for the rise of national park tourism, setting the standard for rail travel to these destinations. Trains to Yellowstone and Yosemite followed suit, but the Grand Canyon Railway remains one of the earliest and most significant of these national park railways. The railway nearly became a highway in the 1980s after it closed down in 1968 due to low ridership. The future of the Grand Canyon Railway was uncertain. At one point, there were plans to remove the tracks and convert the right-of-way into a highway leading to the Grand Canyon. However, the idea was scrapped when a group of passionate train enthusiasts and investors stepped in, recognizing the railway's historical and tourism value. They invested heavily in its restoration, leading to the Grand Canyon Railway's 1989 revival. It played a key role during World War II. During World War II, the Grand Canyon Railway served more than just tourists. The U.S. government used the line to transport soldiers to and from the Grand Canyon for rest and recuperation. The serene and awe-inspiring views of the canyon were thought to help with the mental recovery of soldiers returning from battle. It became a popular R&R destination, and the trains carried thousands of troops during the war years, many of whom were seeing the Grand Canyon for the first time. The Cowboy Shootout is an added bit of fun. One of the more playful traditions of the Grand Canyon Railway is the Cowboy Shootout that takes place before the train departs from Williams. Every morning, actors dressed as Old West cowboys stage a short, humorous gunfight at the Williams Depot. Later, during the train journey, these cowboys rob the train in a lighthearted, family-friendly way. This reenactment adds a sense of adventure to the trip and connects passengers to the spirit of the Old West. The Grand Canyon Railway helped inspire the creation of the National Park Service. The Grand Canyon Railway played a role in the early conversations that eventually led to the creation of the National Park Service, NPS, in 1916. The success of railroads like the Grand Canyon Railway in bringing tourists to national parks showed the U.S. government the importance of preserving and promoting these natural wonders. The idea that railways could help provide sustainable tourism to parks influenced the broader conversation about protecting the country's natural heritage. It's one of the few railroads that still operates on a seasonal basis. Unlike many other heritage railways that run year-round, the Grand Canyon Railway has fluctuating schedules depending on the season. While it offers daily trips during peak tourist months, March through September, during the colder months, fewer trips are offered. The Polar Express ride is a notable exception, which operates regularly through the winter holiday season, making the train a year-round attraction even though regular service slows down. The railway once had solar-powered cars. In keeping with its commitment to sustainability, the Grand Canyon Railway experimented with solar power in the early 2000s. Some of the passenger cars were fitted with solar panels to help reduce electricity consumption. While this technology wasn't continued on a large scale, it demonstrates the railway's forward-thinking approach to eco-friendly travel. This, combined with their waste vegetable oil-powered steam locomotives, shows a dedication to keeping the historic trains environmentally sustainable. The train's route passes through several climate zones. The 65-mile route from Williams to the Grand Canyon travels through multiple climate zones in just a few hours. The journey begins in Williams, which is at an elevation of 6,800 feet, surrounded by the cool Kaibab National Forest. As the train climbs toward the Grand Canyon, passengers experience the transition from high desert to semi-arid scrubland and finally the cooler plateau of the South Rim, which sits at over 7,000 feet. It's a small yet diverse journey through different ecosystems, something few passengers realize. The train depot at the Grand Canyon was almost destroyed. The Grand Canyon Depot, one of the last remaining log cabins of its kind, was almost lost to time. In the mid-20th century, with the decline of rail travel, there was talk of demolishing the station to make way for other developments. Fortunately, preservationists recognized its historical significance and successfully petitioned for its protection. Today, it stands as a National Historic Landmark, one of the few surviving structures that represents the early era of Grand Canyon tourism. The railway's unique position in dark sky territory. Williams and the Grand Canyon lie within a designated dark sky territory, meaning light pollution is strictly controlled. This provides some of the clearest night skies in the country, making stargazing a popular activity for passengers who stay overnight. In fact, the Grand Canyon Railway has capitalized on this unique feature by offering special night train rides that allow passengers to view meteor showers or stargaze while passing through some of the darkest skies in Arizona. The route was originally surveyed by famous explorer John Wesley Powell. The route that the Grand Canyon Railway eventually followed was first surveyed by famous American explorer John Wesley Powell. Powell is best known for leading the first documented expedition down the Colorado River through the Grand Canyon in 1869. His early surveys laid the groundwork for the development of railroads in the area, though it would take decades before the railway was fully realized. Powell's adventurous spirit still lives on in the scenic rail journey that passes through this rugged landscape. A special presidential car was once part of the train. One little-known piece of trivia is that the Grand Canyon Railway used to have a special car designated for high-profile guests, including U.S. presidents. The chief car was a luxurious private coach that carried wealthy and influential travelers to the Grand Canyon in style. It was equipped with large viewing windows, fine dining, and sleeping quarters. Though the car is no longer in service, it reflects how the railway once catered to the nation's elite, providing them with a first-class experience of the Grand Canyon. The railway once faced competition from airplanes in the mid-20th century. As air travel became more popular, the Grand Canyon Railway faced significant competition from airplane tours of the Grand Canyon. Airplane travel could take tourists directly from Phoenix or Los Angeles to the canyon in just a few hours, significantly reducing travel time. However, the railway survived this competition because it offered a more leisurely and scenic journey, something that couldn't be replicated by airplanes. This led to a resurgence in rail tourism, particularly among those who preferred the nostalgic, slower pace of train travel. The railway was a pioneer in gender equality during World War II. As many men were drafted into the armed forces, the Grand Canyon Railway became one of the first railroads in the U.S. to hire women in significant numbers to maintain and operate the railway. Women worked as conductors, engineers, and station attendants, jobs that had traditionally been dominated by men. After the war, many of these women continued working for the railway, breaking gender barriers long before it became a mainstream movement in the workplace. It crosses an ancient volcanic landscape. The landscape that the Grand Canyon Railway crosses is more than just desert and forest. It also passes through ancient volcanic fields. The San Francisco Peaks, visible from the railway, are the remnants of a massive volcanic explosion that occurred nearly 2 million years ago. The train crosses lava flows and volcanic cinder cones, making this a journey through not only scenic but also geologically fascinating terrain. The Grand Canyon Railway is a hot spot for train enthusiasts. The Grand Canyon Railway is a favorite among train enthusiasts from around the world, thanks to its historical significance and beautifully restored locomotives. Every year, rail fans flock to Williams, Arizona, to take part in special events, like RailFest, where steam and diesel trains are showcased and historic railway equipment is on display. For many, a ride on the Grand Canyon Railway is not just a scenic journey but a chance to experience and celebrate a rich chapter in railroading history. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the unknown facts of the Grand Canyon Railway. If you're planning a trip to the Grand Canyon, why not do it the way travelers have for over a century, by train? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fascinating railway adventures from around the world.